Serana of the Valari stood at the highest balcony of the Citadel Tower. The great city of Varethus stretched below her like a field of silver and blue, filled with tall halls, training grounds, and long bridges that connected the proud structures of her people. Every building shone under the pale light of the twin moons. Every street echoed with the sound of warrior drills and morning chants. It was a world made for strength, skill, and honor. Serana was one of the strongest warriors of her generation. She trained from childhood. She learned to lift heavy weapons, command troops, and defend her people against threats from other stars. Many young Valari spoke her name with respect. Many leaders trusted her in missions that others feared to accept. Her armor was carved with marks that showed her victories. Yet one small object in her hand was more meaningful to her than any honor she earned. It was a simple metal tag, human-made. Old, scratched, and not very beautiful. She kept it close since the day she received it. She looked at it again. Her blue eyes softened. Something rare for someone of her rank. She remembered the day she got it. She remembered the human who gave it to her. His name was Ethan Ward. She had met him years ago in a dangerous border zone where a research ship had sent a distress call. She was young during that mission, but she had already proven herself as a fighter. Her squad arrived first and found human survivors trapped under debris. Among them was Ethan, a human technician with little battle experience but a brave heart. Serana remembered the smoke, the heat, and the falling metal beams. She remembered how Ethan tried to pull another survivor to safety, even when fire crawled across the floor. She helped him lift the heavy steel that pinned the person down. She expected fear in his eyes, yet he stayed calm and focused. When they survived the explosion that followed, Ethan thanked her with a tired smile and gave her the small metal tag from his uniform. He told her it was not valuable, but it was something that meant he trusted her. That moment stayed in her heart. She never forgot it. The years passed and diplomatic tensions between their two peoples grew. The joint rescue team was separated quickly. Serana did not see Ethan again. She returned to the Valari homeworld and continued her warrior path. She fought more battles, traveled across systems, and protected her borders from several threats. Even during the busiest missions, she sometimes felt the metal tag move slightly inside her armor. Every time she felt it, she remembered Ethan. She remembered his smile, his voice, and the way he ran into danger to help someone weaker than him. Humans were still new to the galaxy then, and many Valari thought humans were soft and fragile. They believed humans were not built for war or survival. Serana knew those people were wrong. She knew because she saw Ethan act with courage that surprised even her own squad. She wondered each year if she would meet him again. But fate never brought them to the same place. She learned from scattered reports that humans had moved toward the inner galaxy. Some of them served in patrol fleets. Some worked as traders, and some settled on remote stations. Ethan disappeared from all major records. No one in the Valari embassy knew where he was stationed. No human official could tell her either. Everyone said the galaxy was too big, and humans did not track every citizen after retirement. Serana never accepted that answer. She felt there had to be a reason she held on to the tag all these years. A small beep echoed behind her. A message panel opened inside her helmet. It showed a symbol, a human scout emblem from a mining sector at the edge of known space. The message was short and confused, but it gave one clear signal. A Valari name appeared inside the human transmission logs, repeated several times. Her name. Serana stepped forward, her armor reflecting the pale moonlight. She called for her ship, a sleek vessel built for long-distance travel and fast movement. Her voice was steady, but inside her chest her heart beat faster than usual. She had never seen this code combination before. She had not sent any message toward human space in months. Yet the signal clearly came from a human sector and repeatedly used her name. Serana did not know if Ethan was truly there, but her instincts told her this signal was important. She turned away from the balcony and walked toward the hangar with long, confident steps. Each step carried both duty and something more. Something personal. As she moved through the bright corridors of the Citadel, Valari soldiers stopped to salute her. She nodded in return. Many wondered where their champion was going. They whispered that she must have accepted a secret mission. They believed she was traveling to handle a threat or negotiate a peace treaty. No one guessed she was following a memory. Serana entered the hangar. Her ship waited in the center, glowing softly with blue energy. She secured her armor, placed the human tag safely in a pouch near her chest, and stepped inside the vessel. The ship's systems activated, greeting her with familiar tones. She entered the coordinates of the mysterious human signal. The map zoomed out, showing the long path toward the mining sector near the outer rim. She settled into the pilot seat. Her eyes stayed locked on the star map. If the signal was a trap, she would deal with it. If it was a mistake, she would move on. If it was Ethan, her heart told her she needed to see him again. The ship lifted into the sky, engines humming like a second heartbeat. As she left the planet, she looked once more at the metal tag. She spoke softly to herself. She said she never forgot him. She hoped he had not forgotten her either. The view outside shifted to the stars. The ship's speed increased as it left the safe zone. Sarana locked in the long-range route and prepared for days of travel through quiet regions and empty space. Her mind drifted to the past again. She remembered small details that surprised even her. She remembered the way Ethan leaned forward when he explained human tools. She remembered how he stood between her squad and a falling beam without thinking twice. She remembered how he looked at her with trust during the hardest moment of the mission. Most Valari forgot memories that were not connected to battle or family duty. Sarana never forgot Ethan because that mission changed her idea of humans forever. They were not weak. They were not fragile. They were something different. Something powerful inside. Ethan showed her that even a person without armor or weapons could have a strong heart. Her ship crossed the first star line, glowing with lights as it passed into new space. She felt the journey would bring answers. She did not know what she would find, yet she felt ready. Her body held strength from years of training. Her mind held focus from years of service. Her heart held a hope she did not share with anyone. The galaxy was wide. Space was cold and silent. Yet Sarana felt a strange warmth inside her chest. She knew her path had meaning. She felt she was moving toward something important, something that never left her since the day she met a human named Ethan Ward. This was the beginning of her search. This was the beginning of their story again. Ethan Ward woke before the station alarm rang. He always woke early. Years of working on remote mining posts had taught him that it was better to move before the machines started, before the halls filled with noise, and before the shift workers argued about broken tools or late power cycles. Life on a mining station was not exciting, but it was steady. Steady was enough for him. He sat on the edge of his small bed and stretched his arms. His room was simple, just like every place he lived since leaving the fleet. A metal locker, a small table, a narrow window, and a wall panel that flickered every second morning. He liked it that way. Too much decoration felt unnecessary to him. The station, named Outpost K-77, was far from any major human colony. It floated near a quiet star and processed minerals from nearby asteroids. The work was long, rough, and not appreciated by most people, yet Ethan felt comfortable there. He did not need attention. He only needed a place where his skills were useful and the days passed without chaos. He washed his face and looked at himself in the mirror. His hair had grown a little long and there were few new lines around his eyes. Time moved, even for someone who spent most of his days working in low-light tunnels. He did not feel old, but he felt different from the young technician he used to be. His mind drifted back to a memory he almost never shared with anyone. A mission from years ago. A dangerous rescue, a Valari warrior standing beside him. He remembered her blue eyes and calm voice. He remembered how strong she was and how gentle she became when speaking to survivors. He remembered her name, Sarana. He smiled for a moment, a small private smile no one else would ever see. Then he shook his head lightly, reminding himself that the past was the past. She had returned to her people. He returned to human space. Their meeting was brief and intense, but fate took them to different directions. He dressed in a thick uniform and stepped into the hallway. The lights hummed overhead. The metal floor vibrated from machines powering up. He walked toward the engineering section, his boots echoing in the quiet hallway. On the way, he met two of his co-workers, Millen and Jorah. They were tired as usual. "You're early again," Millen muttered while rubbing his eyes. Ethan shrugged. "Systems don't fix themselves." Jorah gave a small laugh. "If they did, you'd be out of a job." Ethan nodded. True. They walked together to the control deck. There, the morning report displayed unusual data. Strange signals had been detected during the night from the outer perimeter. Weak, scattered pulses that did not match standard mining equipment or known space traffic. Ethan leaned closer. "Maybe interference," Millen said. "Or a ship with old engines." Ethan studied the signal pattern again. Something about it felt familiar, though he could not immediately place it. Still, he said nothing. Sometimes systems behave strangely for no clear reason. There was no point worrying until the sensors confirmed a threat. The day continued like any other. Ethan entered the mining tunnels, checked drilling equipment, calibrated power cells, repaired a few broken cables, and returned to the control deck in the afternoon. He liked the predictable rhythm. He liked knowing what he needed to do and how to do it well, yet the strange signal from earlier continued troubling him. It appeared again, stronger this time. The screen flashed with a new warning. A ship had entered long-range scanning distance. The reading identified the vessel as Valari design. Ethan froze. His breath slowed. Millen typed quickly. Valari out here? Why would a Valari warship come to a mining station? Jorah frowned. We don't have any conflict with them. Maybe they're lost. Ethan knew they were not lost. Valari ships never lost their way. They were advanced, disciplined, and precise. If a Valari vessel came this far, it was not an accident. Millen looked at him. You served near Valari space once, right? You know anything about their patrol routes? Ethan shook his head. No patrol route reaches this sector. Then Jorah asked, so why are they here? Ethan did not answer. He could not imagine a reason that made sense. He stepped back and watched the signal on the screen. The ship was not moving fast. It was following a steady, direct path toward Outpost K-77, like it was searching for someone or something. The station commander, Rourke, arrived soon after. He was a serious older man with a tired voice. What's happening? Rourke asked. Millen pointed at the screen. Valari vessel incoming, sir. Rourke stared at the data for several seconds. Then he sighed. We send a greeting. Standard protocol. He repeated the command. The station sent a calm, respectful greeting message to the Valari vessel. Usually, ships replied within seconds. This one did not. Minutes passed. Ethan felt his heartbeat increase. He had no reason to panic, yet something inside him refused to relax. Memories he tried to bury years ago pushed back into his mind. He heard the sound of metal beams falling. He felt the heat of a burning ship. He saw a Valari warrior holding a heavy support structure with her bare hands. He remembered her voice telling him to move fast. Serana. He forced himself to focus on the present. There was no proof she was on this ship. Valari fleets had many warriors. It was foolish to assume she had anything to do with this. Still, the thought refused to leave him. Rourke spoke again. Prepare the landing bay. If they want to dock, we comply. Ethan turned to him. Sir, do we know their intent? Rourke shook his head. If they wanted to harm us, they would not move this slow. Ethan nodded. The logic made sense, yet his nerves stayed tight. The Valari were peaceful toward humans now, but they were powerful. Their warriors trained from childhood. Their ships were strong enough to destroy threats quickly. The hours moved slowly. The Valari ship finally neared the station. The whole outpost went quiet. People gathered near windows and monitors. Everyone wanted to see the first Valari vessel ever to visit this remote sector. Ethan stood near the landing bay entrance with the commander and several workers. The doors opened with a heavy sound. Cold air rushed in. The Valari ship landed, its surface shining like polished stone. A ramp extended. The station lights reflected off the smooth metal plates. Everyone held their breath. Then a tall figure walked down the ramp. Ethan's heart stopped for a second. The figure wore familiar warrior armor. The blue markings matched a style he recognized instantly. The stance was strong and balanced. The presence was calm yet commanding. Serana. She reached the bottom of the ramp and looked directly at him. Her face remained steady, but her eyes carried something deep, something warm, something that told him she had not forgotten. The workers whispered among themselves. Commander Rourke stepped forward to speak. Serana raised her hand slightly, signaling she came in peace. Then her gaze returned to Ethan. She said, in a steady voice that reached him clearly, "Ethan Ward, I have been looking for you." Ethan felt his chest tighten. He could not move for a moment. He finally managed to breathe. Somehow, after years, after endless silence, after believing their paths had separated forever, she had found him. He swallowed once and stepped forward. "Serana," he said quietly. That was all he could say. She nodded. The small metal tag he once gave her was attached to her armor. It glowed under the station lights. He felt a rush of emotions he had not felt in years. Serana had crossed the galaxy. For him. The landing bay stayed quiet for a long moment. The workers watched in surprise, unsure how to react to a Valari warrior addressing one of their own by name. Commander Rourke looked from Ethan to Serana, confused about their connection. Ethan stepped forward slowly. His boots felt heavier than usual. He had imagined what he might say if he ever met Serana again, but now that she stood in front of him, fully real and standing only a few steps away, all the words he prepared seemed to disappear. Serana remained calm. Her posture straight and steady, but her eyes softened slightly when Ethan reached her. That small change was enough to show she was not here for official military reasons. This visit was personal. Rourke cleared his throat. Warrior Serana of the Valari, welcome to Outpost K-77. May we know the purpose of your visit? Serana did not look away from Ethan. I will speak with him first. Then I will explain. Rourke hesitated. Valari warriors were known for being direct. He slowly nodded. Very well. Ethan, take her to the small meeting chamber. Ethan nodded and gestured for Serana to follow him. She walked behind him with quiet steps. Her armor made soft rhythmic sounds as she moved. Everyone stared as the two left the landing bay. Inside the narrow hallway, Ethan finally found enough courage to speak. I didn't expect to see you again, he said, voice low but steady. Serana looked at the blinking lights on the walls, scanning the environment as she walked. It was an old habit of trained warriors. I believe the same, she replied. Yet I am here. They reached the small meeting room. The door closed behind them with a soft click. The chamber was simple, a table, 2 chairs, and a dim panel screen. Ethan sat down first, still trying to process the moment. Serana removed her helmet, revealing her silver-blue hair tied behind her head. Her features were sharp yet gentle. Valari beauty was different from humans, but no less striking. Ethan studied her for a moment. You didn't change at all. Serana's lips curved slightly. You changed, she replied softly. Not in a bad way. You look calmer. Ethan laughed once. Mining stations do that. Not much happens here. It is quiet, Serana nodded. I am glad you live somewhere peaceful. He leaned forward. Why did you come here, Serana? She reached into a small pouch on her armor and pulled out the metal tag he once gave her. She placed it carefully on the table. The scratched surface reflected the room's faint light. I came because of this, Serana said. Ethan stared at the old tag. He remembered giving it to her when they thought they might not survive the rescue mission. It was a simple thing, just part of his uniform, but he gave it as a sign of trust and gratitude. Serana continued. I received a message on my world. A strange signal. Your station sent out a transmission that included my name. It was hidden inside the data lines. There was no reason for my name to be there. The message was weak but real. Ethan frowned. No one here would send your name on purpose. Most workers here have never met a Valari before today. Serana looked directly at him. I know, that is why I came. I wanted to understand why my name reached this place. Ethan leaned back. You traveled across the galaxy because of a signal that might be an error? Serana shook her head. Not only the signal. Ethan waited. Serana's voice grew quieter, more honest. I remembered you. I thought of you many times. I did not want to ignore a chance to find you again. Even if the signal was nothing, the journey was worth it. Ethan felt warmth rise inside his chest. The room seemed smaller suddenly, warmer, more familiar. He spoke softly. I thought you forgot me. Serana's eyes softened. I never forgot you. You were the first human who showed courage when danger was near. You helped people without fear. I respected that deeply. I respected you. Ethan looked down for a moment, feeling something he had buried for a long time. Their bond had been real, but he convinced himself it was only temporary because their worlds were far apart. He straightened his posture. Serana, that mission was intense. Anyone would remember it. Anyone would remember you. Serana tilted her head slightly. Yet you never contacted Valari Space. Ethan gave a small, embarrassed smile. I thought you wouldn't remember me. Her expression grew confused. Why would I forget? He realized she was serious. Valari warriors did not give their trust easily. Once they respected someone, they kept it for life. Ethan finally understood that his memory mattered to her more than he ever guessed. After a quiet moment, Serana placed her hands on the table. Ethan, there's another reason I came. A threat has risen in this sector. Something has been moving across silent regions of space. It is not human. It is not Valari. It leaves damaged stations and stolen data behind. Ethan's face grew tense. Your people think it's coming here? Sarana nodded. We learned that the next target might be a place with old mission data, specifically records from the border zone where we met. Ethan froze. That means they are looking for me. Sarana leaned forward. Yes. Ethan felt an uneasy chill move down his spine. He never imagined the old rescue mission would cause trouble many years later. He thought the data had been filed and forgotten. Sarana added, My leaders believed you might be in danger, so I came. I wanted to find you before anything harmful reached you. Ethan studied her eyes, the seriousness inside them. She had crossed great distances for him, not just because of duty, but because she cared. He took a slow breath. Thank you, Sarana. Sarana stood up. She walked toward the small window in the room and looked out. The stars outside the station glimmered faintly. This station is peaceful now, she said. Yet danger moves quietly. We do not have much time. Ethan stood as well. What do you need me to do? Sarana turned to him. You know the human systems better than anyone here. If the enemy is searching for data, you will know where that information is stored. Together we can find it and secure it. Ethan nodded. I will help you. A sudden alarm echoed through the hallway. Both of them turned toward the door. Station lights flickered red. Ethan rushed to the control panel. The alarm was not a drill. It was a proximity warning. Sarana narrowed her eyes. Something is approaching. Ethan checked the live feed. Dark shapes appeared on the outer sensors. Small, fast objects, drones, he whispered. But not human design. Sarana placed her helmet back on. Then they are here sooner than expected. Ethan felt tension fill the room. Sarana's armor lit with soft energy, preparing for defensive action. She looked at him. Stay close to me, Ethan nodded. I remember how we worked together before. Sarana allowed a small smile. Then we will do it again. The station shook lightly as the first drone passed near the hull. Ethan could feel the vibration through the floor. Sarana reached for the door. We go, she said firmly. Ethan stepped behind her. Their reunion was brief, but there was no time for more words. The danger had arrived. They would face it side by side, just like before. The hum of the spacecraft filled the cabin as Marcus stared out at the endless stretch of stars. He had been flying alone for weeks, tracing the vague coordinates the alien woman, Kalara, had once mentioned in her cryptic message. Each jump through hyperspace brought him closer to a part of the galaxy he had never seen before, a place full of unknown dangers and strange worlds. Yet he could not stop. Something deep inside him drove him forward. It was not just curiosity, it was a connection, a bond that had formed long ago and refused to break. Meanwhile, Kalara was not far behind. Her ship moved with precision, faster and more agile than any human craft, powered by technologies that Marcus could barely comprehend. She had tracked him through signals, whispers of energy that only someone with her training could detect. She did not want to confront him violently. She had no intention of fighting. Her goal was simple: to see him again, to confirm that he was alive, and to understand why he had vanished so suddenly all those cycles ago. Kalara's thoughts were a mix of determination and hesitation. She remembered the first time she had seen Marcus, a human who had been so ordinary, yet somehow extraordinary in her eyes. He had helped her during a skirmish with pirates, risking his life without hesitation. In that moment, she realized that humans were more unpredictable than she had thought. More resilient, more remarkable. The galaxy had never expected humans to endure, to fight, to survive against odds that would have crushed almost any other species. Her mind flicked to the memory of his expression when he had left their last meeting. Confused, unsure, but not afraid. He had trusted her, despite knowing so little about her world. She had left him for reasons she could barely explain at the time. A duty, a threat, something beyond his understanding. Yet even after all the cycles, she had not forgotten him. The thought that he might never forgive her for leaving gnawed at her. But there was no time for hesitation now. She had found him. Marcus's journey had not been easy. Every star system seemed to hold a new challenge. In one, he had narrowly escaped an ambush by a rogue fleet that sought to capture human technology. In another, he had navigated through a cluster of drifting mining stations that were rigged with traps meant to deter intruders. He relied on instinct, on skills that had been honed from years of survival on Earth, and from countless encounters in the outer colonies. Every encounter reminded him of why he had left, why he had disappeared from the places and people he once knew. He had been searching for something, though he could not fully articulate it. When he finally landed on a remote planet to rest and refuel, the air felt strange. Unlike Earth, the atmosphere was thicker, tinged with metallic scents that hinted at the mineral-rich crust beneath the surface. He stepped out of the ship cautiously, scanning the horizon for any signs of movement. He felt an unusual vibration beneath his feet, subtle but persistent. His instincts screamed that he was not alone, and he was right. From the shadows of a nearby canyon, Kalara watched him. She had kept her ship hidden, cloaked against sensors that could detect even the faintest heat signatures. Her hands rested lightly on her weapons, not because she intended to use them, but because her training told her to be ready. Marcus was unaware, yet she could sense the tension radiating from him. Humans were fascinating in that way. Their fear was visible, almost tangible, but it never fully controlled them. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the alien sky in hues of deep orange and violet, Kalara stepped forward. The ground beneath her boots crunched softly against the rocky terrain. She waited until Marcus's eyes swept across the landscape, and then she spoke in a voice that was calm, yet carried the weight of memory. Marcus. He froze instantly. The name echoed across the canyon like a gentle warning. Slowly he turned toward the source, his body instinctively moving into a defensive stance. And then he saw her. Kalara stepped into the fading light, her silhouette unmistakable. Her armor, sleek and dark, caught the last rays of the sun, giving her an almost ethereal glow. Her eyes met his, and for a moment neither spoke. The years, the distance, the silence, all of it seemed to vanish in that single shared gaze. Kalara, Marcus breathed, his voice a mixture of disbelief and relief. I thought you were gone forever. I never left entirely, she replied softly. I had to go. But I never forgot you, Marcus. I followed every path, every signal, hoping to find you again. Her words carried a quiet intensity that made his chest tighten. He lowered his stance slowly, unsure whether to run toward her or hold back. His mind raced with questions, accusations, and the longing that had built up over years. Why didn't you contact me sooner? He asked, his voice tinged with hurt. I searched for you, Kalara. I needed to know if you were alive. Kalara's expression softened, though the faintest edge of regret lingered. There were rules, threats. My world, my duty. It would have been dangerous for you. I could not risk you, Marcus. And yet, here I am finally, and you are alive. The relief in his eyes was visible, and despite the exhaustion of his journey, Marcus felt a spark of hope. Alive, he repeated, almost to himself. I thought I would never see you again. For a moment, silence wrapped around them, broken only by the distant hum of Kalara's hidden ship. The air between them carried the weight of shared history, unspoken feelings, and the thrill of survival. Marcus realized that this moment was more than a reunion. It was a chance to understand why fate had placed them on such intertwined paths. Kalara stepped closer, careful to respect the space he needed. Marcus, she said, there is something you must see, something I found while searching for you. She extended a hand, and with a flick of her wrist, a small holographic device activated. A projection appeared between them, showing maps of star systems, unknown worlds, and faint trails of energy that led to a hidden sector of the galaxy. Marcus's eyes widened. This is incredible. How did you find this? Kalara's gaze met his, unwavering. I did what I had to. But this isn't just about me finding you. It's about what's coming, Marcus. Something is moving through the galaxy. Something that even my people fear. And I believe you might be the key to stopping it. Marcus's mind struggled to process the enormity of her words. He had survived countless dangers, but the weight of a galaxy-wide threat was unlike anything he had imagined. And yet, seeing Kalara standing before him, alive and determined, gave him courage. For the first time in cycles, he felt that he was exactly where he needed to be. What do we do? He asked, his voice steady now, filled with resolve. We prepare, Kalara said, a hint of a smile on her lips. We gather allies. We find the truth behind this threat, and we fight, not just for ourselves, but for every world that could be lost if we fail. Marcus nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. The journey that had begun with a search for a person had evolved into a mission far greater than he could have imagined. And with Kalara at his side, he knew they stood a chance. As darkness fell over the alien landscape, the two figures moved together toward Kalara's hidden ship. The stars above seemed to shimmer with possibility, as if the galaxy itself had acknowledged their reunion. And for the first time in many cycles, Marcus felt hope, a hope that was no longer fragile but strong, forged through years of separation, survival, and the undeniable bond that had never faded. Above them, the night sky stretched endlessly, holding secrets, dangers, and adventures yet to come. And as Marcus and Kalara prepared to face the unknown, one truth remained clear. They had found each other again, and together, they were unstoppable. Marcus and Kalara stood at the edge of the landing platform, the stars above them like scattered diamonds against the black sky. Their ships were ready, loaded with supplies, weapons, and hope. They had spent days preparing, gathering information from every source Kalara could access. The threat they were about to face was enormous, an alien fleet unlike any they had encountered, moving silently through the outer rim, consuming everything in its path. Entire colonies had disappeared without a trace. Now the final confrontation was at hand. Kalara turned to Marcus, her eyes reflecting both determination and trust. "Are you ready for this?" she asked. Marcus tightened his jaw, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on him. "I'm ready," he said. "We've faced impossible odds before. We can do it again." She nodded, a rare smile touching her lips. "Good, but remember, Marcus, this isn't just about strength. It's about strategy, speed, and understanding our enemy. We can't underestimate them even for a second." The journey to the edge of the fleet was tense. Every light year brought new dangers, debris fields that could tear a ship apart, automated defense drones left from long-abandoned systems, and pockets of unstable space-time that threatened to throw them off course. But Marcus piloted the ship with skill and instinct that surprised Kalara. Despite the advanced technology of her people, it was his human intuition, his uncanny ability to sense the unexpected, that kept them alive. Finally, they reached the edge of the enemy fleet. The scale of it was terrifying. Thousands of massive ships moved like a living organism, coordinated in ways that defied logic. Their energy signatures pulsed with an unnatural intensity. Kalara's eyes narrowed. "They've grown stronger since we first detected them. This will be the hardest battle of our lives." Marcus took a deep breath, gripping the controls. "Then we make it count. We strike where they least expect it." Kalara activated her ship's advanced cloaking systems. "We'll go in invisible, find their command vessel, and disrupt their coordination. That's the only way we stand a chance." The two ships slipped through the dark void undetected by the massive fleet. Marcus felt a thrill he hadn't experienced in cycles. It wasn't fear. It was the rush of purpose, of being part of something far bigger than himself. Kalara's presence beside him made him feel sharper, faster, more alive. As they approached the command vessel, alarms began to sound on enemy ships. Somehow the fleet had sensed their presence. Kalara cursed softly. "They're adapting faster than expected. We'll have to move quickly." Marcus nodded. "Then we don't waste time." In a coordinated strike, they launched a series of plasma torpedoes at key energy nodes on the command vessel. The explosions rippled through the enemy fleet like lightning, creating chaos. Ships collided, energy shields failed, and communication lines went dark. The alien fleet, once precise and unyielding, was now disorganized, vulnerable. Kalara piloted her ship through the battlefield with unmatched skill, dodging energy blasts and debris. Marcus followed, trusting her instincts, reacting instantly to the dangers around them. Together they became a single force, human and alien working in perfect synchrony. Finally they reached the heart of the command vessel. Its energy core pulsed ominously, a giant sphere of concentrated power. Kalara glanced at Marcus. "This is it. We destroy the core and the fleet collapses." Marcus's heart pounded. "Then let's end this." They maneuvered closer, their ships weaving through barriers and automated defenses. Kalara deployed energy disruptors that weakened the core's shields. Marcus took careful aim with the precision weapons, designed to exploit even the smallest vulnerabilities. The first strike hit true. A shockwave rippled through the vessel, shaking the surrounding fleet. The energy core glowed brighter, unstable and dangerous. Kalara's voice was calm, steady. "Now, Marcus, the final strike." With careful timing, Marcus fired the last set of torpedoes. The energy core erupted in a massive explosion, sending a pulse of energy across the fleet. Enemy ships faltered, lost cohesion, and began drifting into destruction. The alien fleet, once an unstoppable force, now fell apart like shattered glass. Breathless, Marcus and Kalara watched as the chaos subsided. The remaining ships fled into the void, no match for the sudden collapse of their command structure. Marcus felt a surge of relief and pride. Humanity, once underestimated, had turned the tide of the battle. And it had not been alone. Kalara, an alien warrior, had stood by him side by side. The two ships drifted toward each other in the silence that followed. Kalara looked at Marcus, her expression unreadable for a moment. Then she smiled, a rare, genuine smile that lit up her face. "We did it," she said softly. Marcus nodded, feeling the weight of exhaustion, relief, and triumph all at once. "Yes," he said. "We did it together." They landed on a nearby moon to recover and assess the aftermath. From the surface, the devastation of the fleet was visible even in the shadows. Marcus and Kalara walked among the rocky terrain, the stars above them silent witnesses to their victory. Kalara spoke first, breaking the quiet. "You know, Marcus, I always believed humans were different. I saw it in you the first time we met. You never give up even when everything seems impossible. That's why I followed you all this time." Marcus felt a warmth in his chest. "I never forgot you either, Kalara. No matter how far apart we were or how impossible it seemed, I knew I had to find you." Her eyes softened. "Then perhaps this was always meant to happen. That we would meet again, not just to survive, but to make a difference, together." He reached out, taking her hand in his, a simple gesture that spoke volumes. "Together," he echoed. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders yet unseen, but Marcus and Kalara now faced it as a single force, their bond stronger than any starship or weapon. They had proven that humans, even ordinary ones, could change the course of the galaxy. And with allies from other worlds beginning to take notice, their actions would echo far beyond this moon, inspiring hope in every corner of space. As they prepared to leave the moon and return to their respective homes, Kalara turned to Marcus. "There are still challenges ahead," she said, "but I have no doubt that together, we can face them all." Marcus smiled, feeling a sense of certainty he had never known. "Then let's make sure the galaxy knows that humans never back down, and that we never forget who stands by us." With that, they boarded their ships and took off into the stars, leaving behind a trail of light that symbolized hope, courage, and unity. The galaxy was wide, full of unknowns, but Marcus and Kalara were ready. And this time, they would face it side by side, unstoppable, unyielding, and unforgettable. For Marcus, the journey had been about survival, about finding someone he thought he had lost. For Kalara, it had been about honor, duty, and the recognition of something extraordinary in a human. Together, they had become a force that no enemy could ignore. A reminder that even in a universe full of powerful beings, courage, determination, and trust could change everything. The stars stretched on endlessly, but Marcus no longer felt small. With Kalara beside him, he had found more than a friend or an ally. He had found a partner, a reason to keep moving forward, and a reminder that humanity's reach extended far beyond the worlds they had ever known. And as they vanished into the depths of space, the galaxy would never forget the day a human and an alien warrior fought together and changed the fate of countless worlds.